Okay, so I just seen one thing. Ashe became more and more popular as a support. Um, People usually go spell thief. You can also go spectral sickle. It's usually a bit better with your W since it gives attack damage. Also it affects your own attack damage since you like to auto attack a lot with Ashe. And also you got a gigantic auto range, right? So often people go for spell thief. Um, Spell thief means that you have a bit more mana regen, and that's all actually, and I guess your ultimate deals a bit more damage, but I would rather recommend Spectral Sickle. I mean, it gives a tiny bit more mana regen, but I don't know if it really justifies it, because you have more mana regen but less damage on autos and abilities. Also, you don't have AP ratios until you don't have your ultimate, so I don't think so it's better, but everybody goes for that, right? Then your item should be always tier, you know, Eureka, you go tier, you don't go anything else. Then later on you can decide to go Dark Seal if you want to greed, if you feel like your team is already fed and you guys gonna get multiple kills, which is gonna affect eventually your ultimate damage, and I do believe your mandate also scales with AP. Um, let's just get some gold in here. Now there are some laning facings as well as you can do, you know. For example, like if the enemy team starts from like this area, right, and they are coming this way, you can just always guard, hover upwards instead of downwards, so it's really hard for them to just step out without getting poked by an auto attack or by a W, right? Also, you constantly need to position for a better W angle, right, so they're out of the minions range. And often they will have a melee support that you can throw in shit ton of auto attacks. For example, level 1 they have an Alistar or any type of support that can't really interact with you, you can just W out to them. And if they have a weaker early AD carry, you can bully them as much as possible because you have a gigantic auto range compared to other AD carries, which means you can outrange most of them. And you can outrange most of the supports as well, which allows you to poke for free. Now at level 2 usually you wanna get an E, and if you are pushing, right, if you are pushing with your carry, you can reveal kinda like the whole map actually. Mainly you wanna reveal where the jungler is, right? That's the point of the whole thing. But you can go for a way better angle. For example, you guys are 3-star D pushing, and I think there are like better angles for that to reveal like the whole jungle area. Well, let's reset this actually. Like probably this is like the best angle if you guys are pushing, right? Because then you can reveal almost everything, right? Which essentially means that we know where the enemy jungle is pathing towards, where the enemy jungler is right now, which helps a lot everybody since everybody is allowed to play more offensively, or we know when to invade the enemy jungler if it's really vulnerable, since we know where she exactly starts, right? Also usually you wanna put 2 points in your W, that's just a general thing, so you poke harder, right? Also you don't really wanna auto attack minions in general too much, cause here's the thing, for your Q, if you wanna go for Q, I think it's kinda bad because you need to auto attack minions for 4 times, which kinda over pushes the wave. But I guess you do it anyways with your W, but people generally don't go for it. Okay. So, as I said, usually first item mandate, general thing. Let's get some levels as well, just like that. So you can go tier, usual thing, cooldown boots. If you value mobility, just to sidestep abilities, space out of certain abilities, Sky Torch is better, than Ionian Boots Rush is not bad. Otherwise, if you don't value mobility, cooldown, summoner spell ability haste that much, then you can rush for damage. It's depends on the game you are in, of course, but most of the times people will mandate rush, and at best they will get just boots. That's how I noticed. So you got a mandate rush, not mana immune, but you got a mandate rush, really important power spike. And when do you go mandate and when do you go Leandry, right? So here's the thing, right? Let me put the dummy down. So mandate deals only 61 bonus damage. Um, 61 bonus damage, right? If you slow or immobilize someone, which means it applies from your ultimate and your W all the time, right? Which means if Leandry can outdamage this, if your teammate is not a range champion or is not committing into an all-in to proc the mandate, then Leandry can outdamage it. Also, you can consistently apply the Leandry, which means that how much cooldown is this? 2.4. So you can consistently reapply the Leandry because it has no cooldown, but mandate has like 8 cooldown. I mean 6. of course, which means that overall you're gonna get more DPS out of it, especially if they have really high KHP champions. If they have really high KHP champions, you will possibly get more DPS out of Liandry, but there is a problem. You are usually a low economy, supports are usually really low on economy, and it's really hard to buy such an expensive item. Like, it costs 300, and early on, Liandry is not that strong, that's the problem, because people don't have that much HP, both for the Agony passive itself and for the Torment passive. You won't push out more damage. I feel like early on you won't push out more damage as you would out of Mandate, because if you look at Mandate, it's way cheaper, and your point is to snowball with this Ashe build. You're not a turbo scaling champion, you know. You're not supposed to like get into really late games phases where Liandry can be better. So you can see it deals base 61 damage, and between 90 and 50 bonus ally damage if they hit it, and they also get movement speed, which can be valuable for some AD carries to chase or kite, and it also affects like every teammate member. The movement speed can be quite good, since you can always like rip-proc it on the enemy champion. All they need to do is just damage it. Then again, they have both their ups and downs, but I would mostly just recommend going for Mandate from my personal opinion. The end is too expensive, also it takes time until it outscales the item we currently have in our inventory, the Mandate, so I'm not really a big fan of going for the other option. The only way Liandry is better if they have like some extreme HP stackers on the enemy team, such as Scion, I don't know, Scion, Swain, something like that. And you don't really have too many ranged champions on your team to proc Imperial Mandate, or yeah, like ideally you combine like Imperial with ranged champions. That's like one of the key ideas. Okay, let's just clear the way. Now what else is there is to talk about? So warding is quite important on Ashe, right? And it's quite important to go for some Drake wards or deep wards, but you can also just simply reveal the Drake, or both the Drake and the Herald, just by like doing this, right? So this is a kinda nice trick. You reveal the Drake. Where the fuck is it? Oh, here it is. You reveal the Herald as well, or the Baron. So this is like a way to double detect, right? So you can get more value out of your E. As well, it always depends on your positioning, as I said. Like if you position upwards, you can reveal almost the whole bot side jungle and the top side one, right? To see where the enemy jungler could be. Now in here I messed up the... Oh, actually it's fine, it revealed every camp. It revealed every camp, right? So early on, mostly you will use your E against, like, to detect where the enemy jungler is, which can be insanely valuable. Now what else is there to say? One of the things you should make sure you get Oracle after you finish your support item. A lot of players that play Ashe are not main support, which means they will often forget to switch from normal wards to Oracle. Even I do it time to time, so it's kinda good to remember it. And your other items generally should be how is it called? There's like an anti-heal item. Chem tank. You can get chem tank, right? Now it even got buffed. It gives more cooldown, more damage, plus the Grievous wounds can be quite good if they have a lots of healing. If they don't, then eventually your third items are... let's see what can you build even as a third item. Now Mikael, in some rare case scenario, it can be decent for your AD carry. Then again, there are too many items that are synergizing well. You can get, of course, there's like another good item you can get that has validity on the champion. Edge of Night in some case scenario. Serpent if they have lots of shields. Third item can be completely fine. Then again, like you can also get Axiom Mark, which allows you to spam your ultimate more often, gives shit ton of cooldown, lethality. So both of these can be viable, but usually people go Axiom. The only way you go for Serpents if they have a shit ton of shields, since you have a big AoE damage that you will spam on Ashe. It will apply to everybody the debuff from Serpent's Fang, the 35. Even if you are ranged, it can be worth. So keep it that in your mind. Umbral Glaive early rush is not all that beneficial, because you're not gonna put points in your queue, you're mostly gonna W max, and I'm not quite sure if it's really worth just for the sake of W spam to get Umbral Glaive. Alright. As I said, Zanye can be also an option, I do think so. just cause for more safety in general, it's not necessarily bad. Then you can like finish off with like the situational items, as I talked before. Like there are many situational items you can get. Now Rabadon, I don't feel like Rabadon is everything, but it enhances your ult damage, but I don't think so you care about bursting so hard on your ultimate. Probably you need like cheaper items in general. So there are like shit ton of like situational third slot items, fourth slot, fifth slot. So there isn't really like a straight up way to actually build Ashe. That's how it actually goes. It always depends on the situation. What do you require? An anti-shield, a anti-heal, a if you don't need any of those, then of course you can go for something more offensive, as I said before. Or if they have Blitzcrank or something, or Malphite, Edge of Night is your item. It's definitely really good. Although it's not used too often, but it can definitely work. Then again, like the other lethality items, Yomu's I guess is it's probably not that good. Overall, it's not that good. And then you can also get Black Cleaver 4th, 5th or 3rd even if you choose Black Cleaver. I say Black Cleaver because usually early on you won't put points in your queue, but when you get Black Cleaver as the 3rd, 4th, 5th item, you will have a point in your queue already, right? Which means a single point, if you can activate it, you can just do this. And their armor is penetrated, right? Because your Q applies 4 instances of damage, which means 4 Black Cleaver procs, and your W also applies 1, and you can constantly spam it and keep it, probably maintain it, I do believe. Can you? No, you need to auto attack in between, cause you need more cooldown to maintain the Black Cleaver, you need more cooldown to maintain it on the target. Yep. Actually, you can maintain it with your W. So you can, oh yeah, actually the movement speed expires faster, but the armor penetration stays on the target longer. So if you spam W, you can perma reduce people's armor. You can also auto attack with your Q, which also accelerates the process by queuing and switching targets. You got to switch targets just so it penetrates everybody's armor, which essentially means that your AD champions that you have in your team, preferably lethality champions, will also get more value out of this 30% pen, and you also get value out of it because you deal physical damage out of your Q and out of your W, so it can be definitely really good. Also it gives movement speed, so you can kite more easily. For example, let's try it on a real champion in here. I really try to reset my auto with my Q. It doesn't work that way. So you see, like, it quite penetrates a lot. So right now his armor only 38%, right? And now it's 46. So your carry is gonna deal significantly more damage. It's better usually to get it later on because they have more armor. Also it provides really nice stats, HP to survive, 30 cooldown, really good, 45 AD, price is not too high because it is another like situational item you can get, but I wouldn't go Sherida's Grudge or Lord Dominic's because you are a support, so you preferably need to reduce their armor not only for yourself but for your ally champion. Also Ashe is insane at proccing Black Cleaver with your W spam and your Q, so that also helps with it. That's it for now, have a nice day.